advice would you give to a couple that is 22, 23 that wants to get married right now? Everybody's playing footsies.
If you're 22 or 23 and you know you want to get married, and knowing you're gonna get married that's a whole spectrum, but if you feel like you know, then do it. There is no financially ready time to get married. Getting married costs a lot of money. Whether you're 25 or 35, it's going to cost a lot of money. Don't wait until you're career ready, because you'll always be trying to get that next step in your career. Like, I personally feel like if you know you want to get married, then just do it. And consult people who have wisdom on the matter. Don't go to your friends that have had 18 exes and are saying that they know what true love is. Go to someone who has a thriving, successful marriage and ask them how they view your relationship and if it's the right next step, and if getting married should be what you should do now.
I know personally that I struggled with being the youngest person in my family, younger than normally that people get married, you know, like the age and stuff. So I felt some type of way about that. And now that we are married, we're seeing a bunch of friends getting married who are similar ages of when we did get married.
Mm-hmm.
So, or, you know, you're older, but it was like, okay, now that's the norm, you know, whereas like, oh, we took that step forward and it was really difficult because everybody else sort of thought that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They were happy for us, but on the other hand, it's like, hey, the reality is you guys are still really young.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely something to be encouraged about, that you might have those feelings and those feelings are valid, but it's okay. It's gonna be okay, it is okay, you'll just have to figure out life like everybody else who's your age. Mm-hmm. Except you'll be married. So the other thing is that Jeremiah mentioned the desire for financial stability, and I was there. I was all for it 100%. I advocated for it, and there are multiple people in my life who I've shared this logic with. They've said, what does that look like? And who's to say that you won't get that when you're married? Mm-hmm. But in any case, they challenged me to rethink this concept of being financially stable before getting married. And I'm glad they did. It took a few people, took a lot of thinking and talking out and having these conversations before I finally said, you know what, I'm not actually in control of this financial stability. I don't know what that even looks like. I can dream about it, but who's to say that that will happen? So does that mean I'm never going to get married? You know what I mean? So just to add on to that. Mm-hmm.
So what if you, okay, so would you, and I don't know if you guys probably don't have like that much context for this, but there is a demographic of viewers who watch my videos who are Indian and who are Christian and have the arranged marriage system and whatnot. So would you advocate for somebody getting married young through an arranged marriage? Because a lot of, like, even though it's unusual, I guess, in the contemporary American metropolitan context to get married at 23, 24, that's very normal for many Indian girls. Do you think that's a good idea because it's different for you guys, like you guys had each other, and I'm guessing other people who want to get married have someone, but do you think it's a good idea to get married for the sake of, like, because you're a certain age, you should start looking for someone or whatever?
I want to dispel Disney falling in love with your prince or your princess. I really believe that if the person you are going to be with is a loving person, they love you, they love other people, then I don't see why it couldn't work. I don't think for a lot of people there's that magical moment where you see the person across the room. I feel like a lot of times it might feel like mundane or just average encounters with someone when you realize that maybe this is the person that you could do life with, because much of life, much of being married is buying milk. Like, that is like the epitome of being married. Hey, calling the person saying, "Hey, we need milk," as opposed to these large, extravagant ideas of what being married like at 23, 24. We're not going around New York City dancing in the streets till 4 a.m. because we're married. We do normal things like normal people. Now, the person you're with, whether they're arranged or whether they're your friend for 10 years, can you imagine doing everyday life with this person? And if so, I don't see why not.
Well, we text about the milk, obviously, in this society. It's too intimate otherwise.
You call because texting is
Oh yeah, we're not allowed to text. It's supposed to call you.
You're not on that text level yet.
I'm not Indian, clearly. So I don't know what that's like. I think arranged marriage is so part of the culture that it carries a connotation of its own, usually painted negative in today's younger generation, I suppose. I don't know what that's like. I don't know the struggles associated with that, what feelings that might bring up, and the possibility of your parents arranging you up with somebody, whatever. But I know of blind dates, if you want to consider it that.
Some people, yeah.
Arranged by your parents.
Exactly. And I know some Indian families where they'll introduce you, they'll set you up with somebody.
Yeah, that's kind of like the modern day.
Right, modern day, they won't force you to marry somebody. I don't know what that's like, if you were to be forced to marry somebody.
I think that's not as, that was back in my parents' day, but progressed.
Right.
If you're sold for a cow,
dowry better be a good cow.
He ain't for you. He ain't for you.
Dowries are still a thing, though, apparently.
Yeah,
we have to share about that because we got a dowry situation too. But
okay.
You're worth more than a cowgirl.
So
or boy.
Wow, he's a keeper.
Yeah, I don't know what that's like. I think you can give it a shot. I know people who have met each other through these arranged dates, and have kicked it off, whatever, and started going out on dates themselves. It's possible. It's just like, you just kind of have to give it a shot, and hopefully there's a free meal involved.
For the man.
If he doesn't give you
I've always wanted to go on one.
If he doesn't give you
free dim sum.
If you don't get a free meal, then
if she pays for the meal,
walk
he's
away.
not for you. Also, I don't believe there should be stigma with arranged marriage. I also don't believe there should be stigma with meeting online. Like, if you two play Call of Duty and that's how you met, get married. Have a Call of Duty theme. Do it military style. Demo everything.
What? Oh, because Call of Duty.
Go to an actual Call of Duty and paintball place. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, but things have changed because I feel like back in the day that wouldn't have been nice.
Anyway, so
more options.
I'm not gonna say anything about it because I don't really know, but I think you can give it a shot. Maybe there's some personal feelings involved with that, but that's something also worth looking into. Getting married, the intentions, also worth looking into. Don't think you should be getting married for the sake of your family because you're gonna be married, not your family. So
Now, closing thoughts.
there's so much to say. Wait, what story was I gonna tell?
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know.
The dowry situation.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the dowry. Yeah.
So in Chinese culture, specifically the Fujianese culture where my parents are from, they require a dowry and it's just part of tradition. So if I was marrying somebody who is also FJ, short for Fujianese, there really is a lot of pride and face involved. So the parents are expected to give my parents, the guy's parents, a certain set of money. Of course, the larger the better. And they have this saying where it's like 33,000 something, and I think it increases every so often, but in any case, I don't really know the number. That the guy's family is supposed to pay to the girl's family because it's just cultural customs or whatever, but he's Filipino, so my parents had less expectations. Great. Because where are we supposed to find this money? Especially of the fact that his parents weren't Chinese and not aware of these dowry type situations, to force that upon them would have been kind of cruel. Definitely was a topic that made us hesitant about getting married because it was complicated. But they didn't require him to pay anything. My parents are kind of free and open with that, so it worked out for us.
Here's my takeaway. Being married and being in a relationship is a big deal. But I feel like there's a lot of external pressure, friends, family, media, culture that wants to push you into a relationship. So if you feel like you don't want to be in a relationship, you have that freedom. And if you feel like you want to be in a relationship, then that's kind of the challenge and that season of life that you're in. And if you're married, whether you're young or old, I feel like there's always something more to learn about marriage, about your significant other. And something that I was told earlier on in our marriage was being married is just being a field expert on your significant other. Because the longer you stay married, the longer you're in a relationship, the more you learn about the intricacies and the unique qualities that make your significant other who they are. So, yeah.
It's a lot about them than it is about you.
It's a lot about me, and I'm okay with that.
Cut.
Like, subscribe, comment below.
Down below. Always wanted to do this. Down below.
No, they don't.
Or you can watch the previous episode on this side.
And good.
What is this?
Like, comment, subscribe. There's a lot more awesome content that Nina's going to be putting out, and we think y'all would love it. Later.
Bye.
Bye.